Hey everybody, and welcome to From My Mother's Basement, the show that celebrates being a geek.
We were told geeks during the credits, although if it's posted on YouTube, you probably won't hear it.
Yeah, true. Jason,
I'm Michael.
and second week in a row in a while. That's surprising.
I know, it's kind of scary. We're starting a pattern here, which is really funny considering I know at least 2 days we're not going to be doing it. So.
Very true. This is not going to be, just right off the bat, we just want to let you know that, yes, we are,
Sponsored by Disney.
We wish that we keep on. We'll keep on doing these shows because we enjoy doing them. The fact you guys keep on watching this says something about it. So, but as we always like to say, real life comes first. So we can never guarantee that we'll be on every single weekend.
We're going to try and set up a more permanent schedule with filler as we can.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point, yeah, because life is life.
Yeah. Like, I know there's at least 2 weekends in December that we probably won't be having a show, and we'll let you guys know as soon as we verify some things. So, but I think once we get through like the holidays and whatnot, we can get back on a more regular basis.
Until about January. And there's at least 2 weekends in February, and an entire month in March. No, 2 weeks in March.
Really?
March or April.
You got a lot of stuff going on then, my friend.
We're moving.
You finally found a place.
No.
Okay, I was going to say, this is news to me. Why am I finding this out on the show?
We have not found. Because I'm a dick and I like to do it. Welcome to Maury Povich. Survey says you are Deadpool's father.
That's the plushy one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the Mopies.
Nice.
So I got the Mopey Harley too, which is actually kind of funny.
Nice.
Yeah. Whoop, there she goes. Do you want to kill the Batman? Doesn't have to be the Batman. Oh no!
Oh, stuff falling.
This show brought to you by Michael's Falling Plushies. Bringing you comedic excellence for 2 whole minutes. News. What's going on in the world?
Oh, tons of gaming stuff.
After the tragic events of Paris, and
yeah.
We'll just leave it at that.
All
right. Fortunately, those of you who, those folks that we do know have reported in, stating they're safe. Mm-hmm. So Jeff and Tomas have come online saying they are okay.
That is good.
Other than that, let's see what else happened this week. Legacy of the Void was released.
Yes. Have you picked up your copy yet, Michael?
I wish. I still haven't finished Heart of the Swarm. But, oh my god, is it pretty.
That it is.
Everything I've seen on it says it's pretty, and it's another classic Blizzard release where it's really polished, and everything I've been hearing about it says it works smoothly.
Unlike...
I mean, they know their shit.
Well, yeah, they usually do. I just laugh at the fact that, aside from that coming out, another game came out that doesn't have quite as much polish, but I think it was probably just as equally anticipated.
And I want it so bad.
Yes, Fallout 4.
Yes.
This has been in the works for, what, at least 3-4 years now?
Oh, yeah. I mean, rumors of it first started showing up a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then they formally announced... Well, they didn't formally announce it. They gave a release date at E3, and they announced the various versions, including the Pip-Boy edition.
Yeah, which sold out within the pre-orders, I should say, sold out within hours of availability. Not surprising whatsoever.
I hope they decide to use that as an extension to get more, because that's kind of awesome.
Do you think they will?
Don't know, for those of you who play Fallout 4 and don't know what to do, who've never played Fallout 4. There's this thing called the Pip-Boy that you use in the game that sits in your wrist, and that's how you interface with it. Mm-hmm. That's how you check your stats and whatnot. The Collector's Edition, Pip-Boy Edition, came with a Pip-Boy of your very own that you could have an insert so that you could put either your iPhone 6 or your Samsung Galaxy, or there was a template that you could cut to match your phone up to a certain amount of size. And there's an app that you can download for Android or Apple iOS that is the Pip-Boy interface, and it interacts with the game.
Yeah, that part, the last part, is actually very cool.
Yes.
Having just a collectible item in there is cool in its own right, but the fact that you have it interacting with the game itself brings just a whole nother level of
You can prove that you still have
immersion.
less of a life, because not only are you spending a week straight playing this goddamn game, you're doing it like this and looking at screen and doing this and doing that. No, it's this. Honestly, this is a game that's made for the Wii U.
It is, even
Except
though
there's no way in hell I'm going to have this big ass thing on my arm.
that the Wii U probably couldn't handle the graphical quality needed.
But what's interesting is they could also do it. And I'm surprised they didn't think of this. It's not the Pip-Boy interface per se, but PS Vita, because you've got remote play with PS Vita.
I look at it this way: the fact that PS Vita is already on their way out. There's no plans for successor. I doubt they would spend the time to try to make another.
The possibilities for Vita, though.
There was plenty of possibilities.
I hope they don't get out of the handheld market, because they do make money on it.
It's just going to be a while before their successor, I'm sure.
I hope not that long, because I've managed to bypass the Vita. I want what's next.
Yeah.
I mean, this little beastie right here has been my obsession.
Yeah, the 3DS has...
The new 3DS is the one I've got.
I really want one of those, and I know I will get it eventually, possibly...
It's honestly, it's slightly faster processor, different button placement.
Larger screens. Or larger top screen, I should say.
Yeah, top screen's a bit bigger, which is nice.
And they have a bunch of really great games I want to play, and they're hitting the nostalgia factor left, right, and center for me.
Oh yeah,
especially because with the news during the last Nintendo Direct, did you see it regarding Pokemon? They're going to release.
No.
They're going to re-release Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow, the original 3 games, for the 3DS via the online store.
Oh. And will you be able to? Did they say if you'll be able to raise your Pokemon in one and bring it across all the others?
They didn't specify that section.
Because if you've been playing, in theory, if you've been playing the game from day one, at least the ones that are networkable, you can take Pokemon. I think the first ones that were networkable were black.
Red, Blue, and Yellow were networkable. Basically, you could trade via using like the cable. I still have my original Game Boy here somewhere. It still works. I don't have the cable anymore. But there was always that cheat back in the day where you would start a transfer and unplug the cable halfway through, so the transfer will go through, but you still get to keep yours.
Nice.
I used to do that all the time. They did say though that
it's like what I used to do in Bard's Tale on the Commodore 64. There was a trick you could do. I'm babbling. Sorry.
It's fine.
On the Commodore 64 with the 5 1/4 inch drives, you'd save to the disc, flip the disc over, save again, or no. There was a trick where you could do a save flip, where you could basically double your money each time.
Oh wow, really?
To the point where I had a character running around with like the max amount of money you could possibly have in the Bard's Tale game.
But yeah,
as Jason slams his iced tea.
Oh, you know me, an iced tea, yes. But yeah, they did state that there will be online functionality, so it'll allow you to actually trade with others without the need for a cable link. So
yes,
it still will be in black and white, but the fact that you can have that, once again, on a handheld, there's a ton of other games out on the 3DS that I really want to play. I've been on the fence for the longest time to get one or the other. But, as we always say, real life comes first. So bills and whatnot always got in the way.
If you get a chance, and a game that's really good, it's Final Fantasy Theater Rhythm.
I did play the demo for that. Good. Yeah,
I've got it. It's a really good game.
I know, but here's my thing though. I know eventually I will get a Nintendo 3DS, but there are so many things that I want to play on the Wii U that it makes me wonder, which one am I going to get first? Yes, I know I could possibly wait another 1.5 to 2 years and pick up their next version or next console codename project. Was it NX or something like that?
Yeah.
But there's.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just look at all the deals and the games that they have out right now. There's not too many brand new games out there. There's like a lot of rehashes and a lot of remakes.
Nobody wants to go against Blizzard. Nobody wants to go against Blizzard and Fallout.
No.
Fallout 4, Legacy of the Void, and the new Hearthstone dropped.
what else are you gonna be out there that's gonna try to play?
Yeah, who's going to be stupid enough to take on those juggernauts?
Yeah. The only thing that Nintendo did to try to, well, got a lot of people excited, but nothing available right now, is that not only is there going to be a special Smash Brothers only presentation sometime in December, but they did make a tease about a new playable fighter coming to Smash Brothers.
That's right.
Because before, like, what was it? A few months ago, they had Ryu from Street Fighter, and that was like,
Right.
wait a minute, what? This is okay.
I remember seeing that. I'm trying to remember who it was.
And then they had this trailer out there. It was like, when I was first linked to this, I could have sworn it was a fan-made trailer or something. Someone hacked into the game and created their own character model or something like that. Nope, this is legit. From Final Fantasy VII, Cloud will be a playable character. He looks massively overpowered at this point.
Cloud.
They even keep his limit breaker too.
Nice.
So I'm just like,
nice.
oh, I'm gonna hurt people so bad. I mean, yes, it's gonna be DLC, so you have to pay for it separately, probably $5 to $10 for it. But again, so is Ryu. So,
well, another thing Nintendo's been doing, Nintendo's been capitalizing on the route, although they kind of started it, but not really, of Skylanders and Infinity and Lego Dimensions. Is the amiibos.
Yeah.
Have you seen the ones for Yoshi?
I have the for like the furry the one.
Yoshis.
Yeah.
They're doing a lot of those.
There's a huge one because there's the regular amiibo size Yoshi, and they actually have like a larger like this size amiibo yarn Yoshi amiibo.
Does it still have amiibo functionality?
It still has amiibo functionality.
Okay, so let me get this straight. This is my thing that I use my amiibo on, if I have an amiibo, which I don't right now.
Right.
Little amiibo's going to sit right here, do its thing. Giant Yoshi! Where's the game?
Well, you never know, yeah. Oh, what was that other thing that they announced that during the Nintendo Direct? Oh, yeah. A lot of people nerd rage so hard on this. They announced a new character for Hyrule Warriors, which I personally never got into, just because...
Well, it's basically Zelda Smash 'em Up, isn't it?
Well, it's by the people who created the Dynasty Warriors franchise, and they just...
okay.
Yeah, they licensed them out for it. It's one of those. It's exactly like Dynasty Warriors with the Legend of Zelda skin over it. That's pretty much exactly what it is.
Like the Gundam one was.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. But they introduced a new playable character, and apparently she's now going to be canon now. Female Link is now a thing.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, yes. See if I can throw a picture of that.
What we don't tell you is that Link took a trip to Sweden.
Hey, look, there she is.
And when he came back, this is what happened.
Yeah.
So that's a thing.
I just look at him like, okay, it was already bad enough. There was people wearing shirts and posters and of the picture of the female Link just because it was just
saying its name was Zelda.
Yeah, it was like, okay, that's okay. I see you're trolling. That's fine. And now you've gone and made this legitimate. Oh, Jesus.
Oh man, that's funny.
Yeah, so she'll currently only be available in the 3DS version of Hyrule Warriors, but let's just face it, that's only going to be just the first step for this character. There is a cool little thing coming out for Jim Lee's The Dark Knight 3. This image, the third one has been in the works for God knows how long, almost 10 years. And so this is the end of this comic book series. And we actually released the cover for the collector's edition, which I think actually ties in all parts quite nicely. There's a lot of people out there who will claim that this wasn't really needed at all. Those are the same people who kept on saying they did not like The Dark Knight, but I look at it this way. The people who enjoyed it, they're going to be very ecstatic to read this final episode, I guess you can call it. And those who are not, they're just going to bitch and complain. That's pretty much all I can look at it from that way. There are plenty of comics out there for everybody. There's everything that's been coming out with post Marvel's Secret Wars. I'm really interested in checking out, especially the Iron Man one. All the little bits and pieces I've been reading as of late with the reintroduction of Doctor Doom in a completely different way and how they're partnering up for I need to read this. This actually sounds very cool. Have you had a chance to read it yet, Michael?
Which one?
The latest Iron Man series, post Secret Wars.
I'll be honest, I'm not a big Iron Man fan outside
Really?
of Robert Downey Jr.
All right.
I liked the brief stint he did in Guardians of the Galaxy. I thought that was hilarious.
Well, that whole bit with Gamora and
Yeah, where he got so ego crushed by after stooping
oh
Gamora.
yeah.
Although the way Rocket was giving him crap over it was hilarious.
Oh yeah.
But talk about daddy issues. Her dad's Thanos. No, the comics. I've actually been kind of behind a little bit. The ones I've really been reading, as far as comics go, have been the Star Wars ones. I'm curious about some of the post-Secret Wars stuff because I understand that's wrapped up or is wrapping up.
Right. It's wrapping up. I think there's 2 more issues left, but all the new comics like started like 8 months after the events of Secret Wars. I'm like, the hell?
Yeah.
I hate when they do that.
Well, that and have you read the new the Bat Family Eternal one?
I have not.
They're doing another issue a week series.
Are they? Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they didn't learn their lessons from the first issue a week for a year series of Batman Eternal. That was really good until about 3/4 of the way through, where it's like, really? This is where you're going with this? Really?
Oh well. Well, jumping away from comics for half a second, there's this anime news out there where anime Japan, just called Japan related stuff. I would say as a side note, I know a lot of people have been asking about Anna Break. I'm thinking about just merging that in with this show just because of life.
Oh, force me to watch anime! How dare you?
I know, especially because there's actually a new Gundam series.
Yes, I've heard. I've heard it's back to the old style.
Thunderbolt. Yeah, this is the image that they've released for it. It looks very cool. I'm enjoying some of the character designs. The mech designs are always great. I'm going to zoom in a little bit on the 2 characters you see on there. And the one on the right kind of looks like maybe Spike Spiegel a bit. And well, here's the thing though. Given the fact that there is a 20-second trailer out there right now.
Looks like he's sporting wood is what it looks like.
A little bit, yeah. With this 20-second trailer, the art style, the animation style, and the soundtrack that they use for it.
Is Kano doing the soundtrack?
No, Kano hasn't been announced doing they haven't announced who's doing the soundtrack yet for this thing, but it's very Cowboy Bebop-esque.
Sweet.
So it's like Cowboy Bebop Gundam. I'm like, I am all for this.
This could be interesting. It'd be interesting to see where they go with it.
Mm-hmm.
We're basically having the Gundam act as a mercenary?
Kinda, yeah. That's what I'm starting to look into. Oh, did you already get the announcement regarding Miku?
No.
Well, there was Mikunopolis, which we did back in, 2011?
2010.
2010.
Or no. Yeah, 2011.
2011. There was their tour, their small tour. They had one in New York and one in L.A.
Right, we went to.
Which we went to. Miku has announced recently she is doing another North American tour in 2016.
Okay.
Tickets go on sale in about 5 days, and they're going to go back to the now Microsoft Theater, I should say. In I think May.
In May.
Yeah.
Well, we have to get tickets.
I was like, I'm going to have to figure this one out and try to get tickets for this thing.
Yeah. No, I'm down with that. Let's go.
It's great to see that she's coming back. She's going to be it's like 6 or 7 different what's it called? Locations, even both in Canada and all over the United States. Yeah, it's Seattle, San Fran, LA, Dallas, Toronto, New York, and one more spot to be determined.
Well, we gotta go.
Yeah.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We gotta go.
Yeah. May 6th is where we'll be aiming for, the Microsoft Theater.
May 6th.
Yeah. What hilarious thing about this, though, is that almost every time Miku makes some sort of newsworthy appearance, like remember when she the unfortunately bad reviewed appearance on the David Letterman show?
Oh, yeah.
How all these news sites tried to figure out what the hell is this and how it works out. It unfortunately is happening again with this announcement because like Gizmodo, Engadget, Wired, Comic Book Resources, all these people have articles about it, and and unfortunately they're using some really bad and really old.
They're always going to.
Yeah, I know.
There was an article, or not an article, a show in France talking about the whole Vocaloid phenomenon and what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the one piece of footage they used to as an example of what people do with this stuff was the Popipo song.
Okay, because that's probably
because the first 30 plus seconds of the song is the Popey 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 Popey.
Mm-hmm.
That's all she does. That's what they played for. This is what Vocaloid is. They couldn't pick Lariat. They couldn't pick The World Is Mine. No, they had to go with the goddamn Popipo song.
That's just wrong.
But
you think they would reach out and actually? Yeah, I know it does. Because then people were like, "Oh, this is stupid and childish, and why are people spending all their money on this?" Blah blah blah. Because bad news, good is news regardless. It gets hit.
Exactly.
I hate that fact because it just keeps
right
on.
Up there with if it bleeds, it leads.
Yeah. So. Oh well. So we'll probably get more of it. I think the most cringe-worthy moment that I can think of, similar with the news and Miku, was actually right after Mikunopolis. That it was ABC7 was out there talking to fans about it, because whenever they were there, I saw their cameras and their guys were just confused as all hell what the hell was going on.
Of course.
But unfortunately, that night they went to talk to all the fans coming out, and they asked them, "How does this work? What's the technology behind it?" And they're all just so wrong. Like, oh, it was so bad. Cringeworthy.
We're better than the holographic Tupac.
Oh well.
Although the holographic Gorillas was pretty badass.
The holographic Girls was pretty badass. There's a few other, holographic, people out there. There's aside from, I mean, they did Michael Jackson for one event. They did.
Well, they did Michael Jackson for the Grammys.
Yeah.
And the animation on him, I have to admit, they did a good job.
They did.
But it wasn't just him that was CG'd. I mean, it
Right.
was. I don't know if they composited it in the actors. They did like a.
It was like a half composite, half real.
Remember that reflected stuff we saw? Oh no, you weren't part of that. I forget the name of it. It's. I forget what it's called, but it's basically, it's like how they do the Tupac hologram so that people can interact with it, sort of, at different levels.
Mm-hmm. Maybe it's something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the one that they did a good job with the Michael Jackson one. Although speaking of CG, not nearly of that quality. For those of you who are into 3D modeling, animation, posing, and whatnot, the new Poser comes out in a couple months.
What's some of the new features for it?
They put in a brand new renderer that's going to take advantage of the NVIDIA CUDA cores.
Ooh.
Yes, they're finally including an unbiased renderer. And I don't know that it's not going to be as fast as Octane is. It should probably be, I'm hoping it'll be a little bit faster than Reality Lux renderer is, because it's actually going to be targeting the CUDA cores specifically. So if you have an NVIDIA card, it's going to go faster. I can't wait till this thing comes out, because I've been a Poser user since Poser 7.
And how many years have you been asking for something like this?
Poser 6. Oh, for something that'll take advantage of my NVIDIA card. Oh God, 4 years now.
See, the question is though, are you gonna try to upgrade your video card before this, or are you gonna try to get like maybe?
This video card's a little over a year old, so I can't justify replacing the video card.
I was gonna say in PC terms, that's already ancient, but then,
I get that.
Yeah.
I have other things to save for.
Come on, you get a Quadro. Come on.
I could build my new machine, and then after I've moved and gotten stable wherever we move, then I can build my new machine, and my new machine will have whatever the current best in class.
Pick a line in the sand, call that bleeding edge, and build for that. Because if you keep on waiting longer and longer, you're gonna be like me and never build it.
Well, exactly. But I mean, I have other priorities that have to take place. But the point is, Poser is the one thing that Daz has had over Poser has been the fact that they introduced NVIDIA iRay, which gave them better quality. There's also the Genesis figure set, which is a whole other argument. But now that Smith Micro is not only including an unbiased renderer, but they've said flat out, yes, we're going to the CUDA cores, as well as supporting OpenCL.
Oh, really?
Which lets the AMD folks get in the game. The fact that it'll support both of those I think the only advantage Jazz is going to have is that it's free.
True,
But its user interface is crap. So.
Right. But I can only imagine you're gonna be, when that comes out. I'm sure you're gonna be like, I'm not available. I'm busy. I'm something.
Go away, rendering. Yeah.
yeah. I'm not gonna be able to see you for quite a while.
No, you'll see me. I just won't say much.
Well, you remember?
But
go ahead.
Did you talk about number 28 yet?
I have not yet.
Well, then let's move on to that because I can geek out about CG all day and probably bore the crap out of all of you.
Yeah.
So let's go from CG to CG. No, CB. Yeah, CB to TV. Comic book to TV.
There you go. I like it.
I like it. 5 days. 5 days, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, is it 5? Yeah, it's 5.
Yeah, it's a little less than 5 days from
what
now.
Hits?
Jessica
Jones hits Netflix.
Can't wait.
That is the reason you won't see me for several days.
That'll be one of those things that I may just consider just going the night before, going to bed really early, waking up at like 11:30. So when midnight hits, I can marathon 7 of those episodes before I have to go to work, and then watch the remaining 4 or 5 when I get to work. Jason, are you working? Yes.
Why is David Tennant on your screen? Nothing. See nothing.
Because Tennant is amazing.
Yeah, no, I am greatly looking forward to this. I was only loosely aware of the character before, but I've since heard more about her, and I've also the fact that it's got David Bloody Tennant in it.
Playing
as the bad guy.
As the bad guy. And
which is going to be pretty awesome.
With his ability, or his main ability, he just essentially mind control. He can just say a couple words and make you do whatever the hell he wants you to. And a lot of people are just like, that's kind of like if the Doctor just kind of got pissed and said, "Screw it, I'm gonna go bad for a while." Yeah,
pretty much. What if the Doctor became the Master, or now the Mistress? Ooh, spoiler!
It's like a couple years old now.
No, it's only a year old.
All right, well, it's still long enough. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing Tennant's portrayal of Kilgrave, or AKA the Purple Man.
I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. And the fact that it's all still part of the MCU. So Daredevil's going to show up. They're going to reference Luke Cage. There's a possibility of S.H.I.E.L.D. agents showing up.
As always.
Which would be really cool.
But see, my question is, I want to see how they handle her backstory. Because there's a lot in there. If they try to go pretty far deep into the history between Jessica Jones and the Purple Man, you're going to get into situations where she was basically sent at one point to kill everyone in the Avengers.
Yeah. Under his control, yeah.
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, no. I really want to see how they handle that. I'm looking forward to that. Because, as much as I hate to admit it, I'm not a big fan of angst in a series for angst's sake. Because it's too easy to go from angst to emo.
Right.
But well-written angst, like first season of Blacklist angst, that's really good if it's written right.
And see, what I like about what they've shown so far, and all the reviews for that come out this past week, they mentioned that she has problems, but she is never the damsel in distress, overused trope that's in every single freaking story out there.
Yeah, you have all these ungodly superpowers, but you're a frail little girl.
No,
F that noise.
She has her problems, she deals with it. Like, there's even one of the latest trailers, they ask you, with all the shit you've been through, how do you handle it? It's called whiskey.
Which kind of reminds me of Hancock.
Yeah, I cannot wait. So the entire season will be available on November 20th.
Can't wait.
Yeah. Then Luke Cage Season 1 and Daredevil Season 2 will be available sometime later in 2016. Then after that, we have Iron Fist, and then eventually the team up for the Defenders. So we'll see what happens with all of this. I want
to see them linking all this shit. I want to see a guest appearance from Iron Man. I want to see the Avengers track down Jessica Jones.
And it's going to happen. And I do love the fact that a lot of people could have looked at Marvel way back when already, and already like a few years ago, and say you're already expanding way too much. You're spreading yourself too thin. You have all these movies coming out of the slate for the next 10 years. You have a TV show in the works, and now you're going to expand out for additional stuff in the on Netflix. Oh, and by the way, you still have all your comics. Like, how can you tie that all together? But they've been very smart with it so far.
Yeah, well, they've been very smart. They've just maintained a contiguous universe, and comics. Where they were, one of the things they did that was really smart was in creating the MCU, and that's something that DC, aka CW, needs to get off their butt and do, because and they're starting to do it with Arrow and Flash show up together,
right?
And with Constantine showing up recently.
Oh, that was great.
I'm waiting. Now, here's a question: is the new Supergirl series part of that universe?
I believe so. Something like that.
Because we need to see that.
Yeah, that'll show up eventually. Side note regarding Constantine, the El Rey Network actually made an announcement recently that they actually have the rights to rebroadcast all the Constantine episodes.
Nice.
And once again, all the fans went, hashtag save Constantine and see if they can actually get it on that continuation on there. Because they saw such a huge boost in ratings
on Arrow?
When on Arrow when they had the Constantine episode. And they're doing so well anyways on all these other bits. I mean, yes, I know they have Legends of Tomorrow that's coming out. They already have, obviously, Arrow. Flash has gotten really, really good.
Flash has gotten really good with one or two exceptions. I mean, there's some interesting stuff. That's all I can say about that, is interesting stuff with Flash.
But I'm just put Constantine into the mix with this. I think that'd be a fantastic
I would love to see Constantine interact with Flash. That would be hilarious.
That would be amazing.
That would be just oh, yeah. Though, speaking of Flash, they're talking about we're going to get into mild spoiler territory here. All the crap with Zoom coming over and I guess we're migrating straight into what have you been watching.
That's fine.
With Zoom coming over and the thing they tried to do with Dr. Light, which I thought was really funny, because I can't hear Dr. Light and not think Mega Man.
With Dr. Wily.
I can't be the only one that made that connection.
No, not at all.
But the with everything going on with Zoom and whatnot, and then now we've got the Earth 2 Harrison Wells, and all that other stuff, and they're wanting what the hell's going on? What are we doing? Why can't we do this? Why can't we do that? There's one key piece of equipment that has completely been looked over,
which is
and skipped. What about the AI? Harrison's AI, which was supposedly built by Barry. And someone can make the play of they got rid of Harrison Wells when so and so did that, and therefore it never happened. Blah blah. No, obviously that's not true, because the timeline remained consistent.
Right.
So that means that AI is still there.
I see where you're going with this. This actually could be.
They need to pull that shit out and make use of it, because there could be some interesting, because it can track how the timeline shifts.
Right. I like this idea.
My .02 and a quarter.
Real quick. What else have you been watching lately?
Oh, let's see. I got current on all my shows recently, because NBC. NBC finally released. This is going to a minor rant, by the way.
That's fine.
The big three, or now the big five, actually, have finally started embracing new technology. They finally started embracing the idea of online distribution, online show running of their shows, etc., etc., etc.
Right.
You've got Hulu. You've got Hulu Plus. The way I was able to come current on Blacklist, aside from a subset on a friend's Xfinity account, is NBC. I was complaining to that same friend about, God damn it, NBC needs to release an app for the Apple TV just like ABC did. Guess what happened the next 2 days later? I kid you not. I was complaining about that. 2 days later, it shows up on the Apple TV.
So what you just say now that, it is unfair that Jason's bank account is so low.
Well, the thing is, the Apple TV, you don't have to pay for it. You don't have to pay for the NBC app, which is really nice. The NBC app, the USA, actually the USA app, you have to tie into something else. But the NBC app, you just, it's just like watching it on broadcast. You watch it when you want, but there are commercials. That's the only problem with it, which is okay. I can live with that. But being able to watch it at any time, day or night, is a good thing. CBS released an app on the Apple TV that does basically the same thing, except it's subscription based. There was news recently about the CBS bringing back Star Trek on TV.
Right.
But they're going to bring it back exclusively on their subscription service, which they've launched as an attempt to, get people to watch it, or to get hoping that by bringing up a new Star Trek series, the Trekkies will be enough force to adopt people subscribing to that model. I think that's a bad way to go. I think that NBC and ABC have more or less got it right. Although ABC has it to where you have to be subbed through whatever your cable company is.
Right.
And I'm boring you. I see how you are.
No, I've been up since 4 a.m., so.
I'm giving you a hard time. A CBS needs to pull its head out of its ass, and because I could pretty much guarantee you that on their subscription service, you still have to watch commercials.
Yeah, it's one of those things that if you're going to pay for a subscription service, you should be able to do that knowing that because you are paying for said service, that you could skip the freaking ads. But
current marketing doesn't work that way, unfortunately.
I know it does not.
Now it's started to shift where product placement has. In fact, I think we talked about that on a show shortly after we first started doing this, where they'll do things like product placement, and one of the things was having whatever the product that's being placed being a critical saving point to the show, like with Eureka and the deodorant. That was just stupid. But since then, they've refined that model to the point where, I want to say, I think it was Flash actually. You see Cisco slamming back a Mountain Dew, and the label is clearly positioned.
Yeah.
It's not like hey, I'm going to drink my Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
It's nothing like that, but it's there. It's noticeable.
There was a study about that recently. I was reading a report about it back a couple weeks ago, that basically the amount of time that people would take to try to make a fake product for them to use on there isn't worth it, because the moment a viewer sees something like that, so instead of Coke you see, or Coca-Cola you see, Coca-Zona or something like that. You make something like that instantly takes the viewer out of the situation, out of that universe.
Exactly. They see that characteristic red with the white stripe, and they're like, that's supposed to not be that.
Yeah. Exactly. Like, oh, okay, so this is now fake. They're trying to get around it. They don't want to pay for it, or for the licensing. And then all of a sudden it's like, you lose more viewers' interest into the series, because it's a relatable aspect. I mean, it's not like, hey, they drink Coca-Cola, I drink Coca-Cola too. Nothing like that.
Yeah, but a lot of marketers think that's how it works.
I know, it's sad. But having actual products in there, and not even like, the old school, try this great tasty wheat or something like that.
The stuff they used to do in the 50s. Or like they did in the Truman Show.
Exactly. Nothing like that.
I'm doing my laundry with this,
But like having to drink like a Mountain Dew every once in a while. I remember in watching...
or they'll do a lot of shots with cars now.
Yeah.
You'll see like a Ford symbol.
You'll see the Ford symbol there.
It'll the establishing shot of the car driving in. You see the logo of the car. Then it just goes on.
It's subtle.
It's more subtle.
More subtle than it used
to be. It's more subtle than a Bond movie.
Yeah, that's true. I remember watching on the newsroom.
Was it GoldenEye, brought to you by Perrier?
God.
Or no, I'm sorry, not Perrier. What's the beer with the green bottle?
Heineken.
Heineken.
Yeah.
James Bond, sponsored by Heineken.
All those commercials and everything. Yeah. But like in the newsroom, there was a scene where they were talking about one of the characters getting a Bloomberg terminal, and they spent like maybe 15 seconds on it, but it made perfect sense in that situation, and that's an actual product. So doing stuff like that works fantastic. Now, granted, if
that was from Newsroom. That was from Newsroom, which is the HBO series.
Yeah. So stuff like that. I mean, just do more stuff like that. I think you'll be fine. You'll find your ways to get your advertising in there without it being, either having people watch commercials which they freaking hate and cause them to go out and torrent stuff more and pirate stuff more.
It's a fine line to walk.
It really is.
You've got, guaranteed your product's going to be noticed with a commercial versus, oh, hey, look, that kid's drinking a soda.
Yeah,
or a pop.
You have to play that balance of.
But I like that seeing that move in more because it also adds, like you said, realism and relatability.
Yes.
If these are series that characters and situations we're supposed to relate to, I'm going to relate a lot more to a kid sitting there playing his little Sony, whatever, than I am to a kid playing the phony. Like they do in anime.
Oh god, that stuff is hilarious. Although there was that series I forget which series it was. They actually had a whole episode where they repeated like 4 or 5 times the "It's a Sony" phrase.
Well, there's that and also oh god, Tiger and Bunny.
Oh yeah, where they're just have all the sponsored logos.
And that was the whole premise, was that everybody was sponsored.
Yeah, it's like
but they
NASCAR,
actually got real.
Yeah,
life I mean, they actually had
Ustream and SoftBank,
NTT Docomo,
Amazon.
Pepsi.
Yeah, they had all. Yeah, Pepsi sponsored an entire character.
Well, yeah, Pepsi and SoftBank both did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
that's great.
It's not a bad thing. And what's nice about doing it in the anime is it's perpetual.
Yes, very much so. As for me, I don't think I haven't really watched anything as of late, but I want to. In lieu of me not watching stuff lately, I want to bring up a new game that's coming out early next year. It's by Fantasy Flight Games, and it looks freaking amazing. It's called Star Wars Rebellion. Are you aware of this, Michael?
I've heard of it.
This thing looks sexy as all hell, and it looks so much fun.
It's another... Yeah, it's basically... if it's what I think it is, it's is it the one that's? It's basically what X-Wing. It's to the Star Wars thing what X-Wing is to starfighters. And Armada is to fleet play.
This is basically the conflict between the Empire and the Rebellion during the original trilogy. You have 32 different star systems, and you actually the story goes about that you can actually follow the trilogy, or you can branch off and make your own path and whatnot. There's over 150 miniatures on 2 separate game boards for this, so you can pit teams against each other on this. There's also individual characters that you can represent and use. Allow you to send characters like, you can send, Luke Skywalker or even Boba Fett on specific missions to establish trade routes and stuff like that.
Interesting.
This thing looks impressive as all hell.
It's a risk, Star Wars.
It pretty much is. It is going to be a little bit on the pricey side. The MSRP is $100. Mm-hmm. It's a pretty steep entry.
Well, so is Armada.
This is true.
Armada's $100. There's also another Star Wars game that, because I tried to get into Armada, I couldn't, so I ended up giving that to my son. Which he lucked out because he basically got Armada in one of every ship that's out currently. But I kept X-Wing because I love X-Wing.
Right. Well, X-Wing is fun.
And there's also Fantasy Flight Games does another Star Wars game called. Well, they do all the Star Wars games. They've also got their RPGs, but
right.
I'm trying to remember what it's called. It's the one where you hang on, I've got figures for it. Give me a second. I picked up a couple of the figures because one of the figures you can get is Chewbacca.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Imperial Assault. No, that's not it. I'm sorry. Is that the game? No. No, it is. It's Imperial Assault. Okay. Star Wars Imperial Assault, where basically It's you do specific missions,
Really?
and it's at a character level,
Oh, nice.
and it's kind of like part D&D, part, although not really. Though for the D&D stuff, you have Edge of Empire, which is what I've got over here. There's also a Rebellion version and Force of Destiny. So, and they're all interchangeable.
Okay.
So, that's the one I want to get into is Imperial Assault. But I need people to play with. So,
I understand.
enable.
That's what we normally do. I'm just looking at some of the miniatures that they use for this, and it's like it gets pretty detailed.
Oh yeah.
Into these, I was like, "Holy crap! I want to play this." This is one of those things that's going to take hours. Well, it'll probably take a good 30 minutes to set up and then hours to play.
Probably.
But it looks to be so much fun.
What's interesting is the figures are all at such different scales.
Yeah, that is interesting. There's not like a justified scale. Now, granted, when I'm looking at the board, though, it kind of makes sense because there's some areas where you'll have giant space battles, and there's areas where you will have land-based battles, like in Hoth and whatnot. So
yeah.
I figure if they tried to do it, you know,
to scale,
like the X-wing miniature.
Well, the minute
stuff.
they included a Death Star, that kind of became improbable.
Yeah.
Not only did they include one Death Star, they included both Death Stars.
All right.
Oh,
I think for that, though, I think we're going to wrap it up at that point.
Probably a good idea.
Let's see, just let you know, because we were talking about when we'll be available and when we will not be available. Next week, I know I won't be available, so we'll try to do one the following weekend.
Which is Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah, the 29th on Sunday.
So we can do it while overdosed on tryptophan.
I like it. It'll just be with an IV going, huh? Okay, yeah.
What's in the IV, Jason? Huh? Oh, Jack Daniels. No, you're gonna need a Balls IV. That sounds wrong. Balls is an energy drink.
I love Balls energy drink. Gonna have it.
Yeah, let's put that subtitle in there.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We'll be back in 2 weeks for From Mother's Basement. I'm Jason.
And I am Michael.
And we will see you guys next time. Take it easy, everybody.